We're off and ready to go, and welcome to another edition of What's Good with John and Joyce. I affectionately call her Joyce Aru. We're going to get her name scheduled. Joyce Aru. And we appreciate you tuning in for another, we're going to have so much fun today. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue and Silvio Sauces, thewoodwinds.com. Ascend Bank. They don't just see your accounts, they see your vision and ambitions. Ascend.bank. Moonshots, a vegan-based company that delivers the highest quality organic juices, coffee, bowls, and so much more. DrinkMoonshots.com. Linda Toscano of Caldwell Banker Realty in Guilford, Connecticut. With over 17 years of experience, Linda is known for her authentic, client-focused approach and expert guidance for buyers and sellers. Now, if you're thinking about making a move, Linda Toscano is someone you can trust. We're deeply grateful to all of our sponsors for their support and for partnering with us to uplift and enrich the lives of our listeners and viewers. We have a gal here who's so talented. She's working with another woman that put something together, Lift Up, the anti-bullying. And being a person who was bullied at one point when I was in high school, when I was a freshman, I can relate to that. And whatever we can do to stop this, or at least, slow it up a little bit each and every day by the way we go out there and just, look for opportunities to bless other people. And Kayleigh, you're putting this into fruition, so to speak. You and Jill Vita, who's in the background right now. Hey, Jill. She's here supporting us. Yes. But welcome, Kayleigh.
Thank you.
Kayleigh Joseff or Joseff. There we go. All right.
Yes.
And she has no shoes on.
Yes.
Let's see what it says. It says, be happy.
Be happy.
Be happy. But thank you so much for being here, Kayleigh.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
We appreciate you and everything you're doing. So tell us your story about how this
I
all
want to hear
started.
all about this.
Do we have the stand up, speak
Yes.
out? You can hold that up to the camera right now.
Stand up, speak out.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's see.
So did you create that?
No, Jill Nessie created
Jill
this.
Nessie
She
did.
wrote all the music, and it started as a showcase, and over the last decade or so has developed into a full-blown musical. And now we are developing it even further for an extended musical and then possibly motion picture and things like that down the road.
Wonderful.
So it's an incredible opportunity that Jill's given me to be a part of this amazing cast development and show development and seeing the audience's reactions. I'm learning so much about production. It's unbelievable, the levels of gifts that this show has
and you're
given me.
helping
Yes.
children.
Yes, the reward is beyond.
And I've worked with Jill many times over the years. She's put together a whole bunch of events, and she's like the Energizer Bunny. Has so much energy, and her passion for what she does. When she talks about this, she almost tears up because she really cares so much. You can't fake passion.
No.
And she's the real deal.
Yes.
And as are you, because I had a chance to meet with you at a local coffee shop and chat with you and Jill, and you have such a, you're so ambitious.
Yes.
And you have such a love and a belief in helping these people that are bullied, because it's a major issue. I think even more now than ever.
It is more
Really?
now
Even
because
since
of
COVID,
because of
it's
online.
gotten worse.
Because of
online.
online. Are you geared more towards school-age children?
Yeah, middle school's our sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before middle school, like third grade and below, sometimes fourth grade's iffy. It's just tough to really grasp the understanding. And from fifth to ninth is really where it's heavy hitting for their daily lives.
Ninth grade here, freshman year?
Yeah.
That was my
And then
my
10th to
son,
12th,
too.
you've kind of already developed your protections or sort of decided your own way. They're less open usually to any sort of interventions or guidance around it. Like I'm noticing they're sort of, I don't need whatever, I already have it figured out. It's all protections, right? Which is fine. But yeah, that 5th through 9th is sort of the sweet spot there.
What do they call that, a defense mechanism?
Yeah,
Psychology?
coping skills, defense
Right.
mechanism. I just call it all protections. That could be anything. I mean, anything from, addiction to workaholic to sleep too much to, oh, I'm going to be angsty and whatever, or, oh, I found this group I can belong. Anything could be a protection. So it just gets harder to intervene in that.
Do you go into schools and perform?
No, the schools will come kind of on a field trip to
I
local
see.
theaters. that are
Like the
professional
Kate and Old
theaters.
Saybrook. We'll
Like
give
the
them a
Kate and Old
plug. They do a
Saybrook.
great
Yes,
job
we
there.
love the Kate and Old Saybrook. They've been a long time partner and great friend to Stand Up and Speak Out. And so the local schools in a certain radius will plan with the coordinator at that theater to come for free to the theater to see the show during the day. And so usually we'll pair that with a public show in the evening so that they can either come back with their families, or people that didn't get a chance to see it during the day can come, or things like that, locals in the community. So that's sort of our formula that we have set up for the show.
How's the reaction been?
Incredible. You forget, because this is my fourth year, part of the production in different aspects along the way. But yeah, it's like whether you're a cast member or stagehand or director, you're rehearsing and you're just so into the story. And then when your first show for the next year happens and you get that crazy scream, crazy applause, you kind of forget like how connected the audience gets to the story and the characters within it. So that's always a nice joy that never gets old.
I bet there's a lot of adults sitting, the parents that also were bullied.
Oh, yeah. Or, it can also kind of be a good check-in with, because you forget, you get stressed out, you get caught up, you get overwhelmed, and then you're talking to people like real short and, this thing seems really important, whatever it may be, right? Yeah. The job or the house or the whatever. Or even, it might be the kid, I want to get you to school, I want to make sure you're good. And then you kind of forget the kindness sometimes. And so it can be a good check-in just to say like, oh boy, is that me? And it's good if you can have compassion for yourself and give yourself that grace to be able to have that awareness to say, okay, I could be doing better, and slow down a little. Is this so important that I'm making,
Yeah, we are in such a rush nowadays. Yeah. We just need to really slow down and just enjoy each and every day, because every day is such a gift, but also look for opportunities to help others. I know it sounds so kumbaya.
No,
but
not
it's
at
so
all.
true.
No,
We
just
need
comes
that
down
more
to
now
that.
than ever.
Yeah.
And, just go out there and be a good human.
Yeah.
Yes. I think a lot of
That's all it
times
takes.
people get jaded along the way, right? And then helping becomes like either weakness or
it's an ordeal. I'm too busy with
yeah.
my own family.
Yeah, or I've got things to do or whatever. But I think we forget when you give to others, it's a gift unto yourself.
100%.
Absolutely.
If you're
Yes.
giving from a full cup and you take care of yourself, because a lot of people can also use helping as a protection, right? Like I would do this, or I play the caretaker and I help everyone, but I don't take care of myself, and that's not good for anybody. And then that leads to resentment, right? So as long as you're taking care of yourself first and foremost, and then giving where you can, like don't not pay your rent so you can go volunteer, but maybe find what you can do to give back to the world and give to your community, and notice what your community gives to you. I was telling my partner this like months ago, and he was saying, oh, that's really helped me, that, he'd be on his phone a lot, or he would complain a lot. And I'd say like, maybe just try to notice more during the day, like when people smile at you.
Right.
Yes.
Or if somebody holds the door open for you. Like, because when you don't pick up those things, you take it for granted, then you can tell yourself stories of like, oh, today, blah, 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 blah. But if you really notice those little things.
She speaks our language.
Yeah, you really do,
Yes.
Kayleigh. And the thing is, I started a journal on January 1st this year, and I've done it before, but I've really been consistent with it, talking about my day. And like you said before, somebody did this, or somebody said this, or I had an opportunity to help this person or whatever. This person was really good to me, and they said something that really kind of lifted me up today when I really needed it. Yeah. And I acknowledged that each and every day, who I might be praying for that day.
Yes.
And it just really, you write it down. There's something about writing it down
There
and
is.
keeping a journal. It's like a food
100%.
journal.
Yeah.
I've been keeping a food journal for years.
Yeah.
I write down every single thing I eat, so it keeps me accountable.
Yeah. The acknowledgement alone is a sort
And
of
it is
gift.
those little things, like someone who smiled. And I know someone who, they won $2 on a lottery ticket, and they go, oh, all the money I spent, and I just won this, which clicked in my head. And I bought a scratch off, or someone gave me a scratch off for a birthday or something, and it was $2. And I wrote in the journal, "Yay, I won $2."
Yeah.
You just switch it instead of saying, "Ugh, Why couldn't I have won the big one?
Yeah.
But I don't think you even get to the big one in life unless you acknowledge all those little steps along the way.
Yeah, sort of like what we were talking about before we started, like that childlike wonderment.
The wonderment.
Right? When you're an 8-year-old
Yes.
and you win that $2, you feel like on top of the world.
Right.
I mean,
And we
come
lose
on.
that. We lose that. We get caught up in the world, and I like that. I'm being more intentional
Yes.
when I walk around. It's like, go down the street sometimes, my wife and I are walking or driving, and I've never seen that house before, and I've passed it 10 years.
Yeah.
And I saw the beauty of this beautiful log cabin on the right-hand side recently. How did I ever miss that?
Yeah.
know?
And taking it all in. Someone designed that. Someone built that.
Yeah.
Someone who lived there. Like everything and everyone has a story. And sometimes if I'm just needing a little pick me up, I'll just sort of people watch. And it's all made up in my head. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'll sort of make up little stories for, maybe a couple met under this tree or, little things to make me feel.
I think that's great.
Really joy in
Anything
the
that
world.
makes you feel better.
Yeah. That doesn't hurt anybody else,
So, in your presentations, do you also address like what the bully might be thinking and the person being attacked?
Yes. So I'll give you a little synopsis of the show. Stephanie Lawrence is our main character. She returns to Rockville High, and she's experienced some bullying and whatnot. And so when she returns, she sees her friends, and everything's good. And then there's this bully that she has never met. She's bullying. And then fast forward, she sort of tanks her audition for the big talent show, which is like the pinnacle of the show. And big bullying moment there. She goes home and just like cries herself to sleep, basically. And she's visited by a friend in a dream, sort of like a Christmas Carol vibe. But she's visited by a character in the dream that sort of takes her through the bullies' home lives.
I see.
And she's able to sort of gain, it's all about perspective.
Yes.
It's really all about perspective. Don't get me wrong, pain exists, right? But suffering is a choice. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because suffering could be a protection. Suffering could be something you lock into and feels good, or that's your, whatever, that's your story, that's your identity. But it is a choice. Pain is inevitable. It's going to happen. But when you get stuck in this story of, oh, everyone hates me, or everybody's out to get me, or it's me, I'm defective and I deserve, any whatever story, you're suffering. You're choosing to
And we
stay.
are what we tell ourselves. It manifests on the body. It manifests in your circumstances around you.
Yeah, we're snared by the words of our tongue, right?
Absolutely.
That's a scripture that my Mimi would always
One of my favorite
tell me.
passages in the Bible was King David saying, Lord, help me tame my tongue.
Yeah.
The tongue is so
It's
dangerous
tough.
what we say. So
It's
speak
really
faith
tough.
over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those affirmation, all that stuff is real. Like and even if you think about it scientifically, like what I'm hearing all the time, whether it's like things from social media, videos, footage I watch, books I read, food I put in my mouth, whatever I'm digesting as my human body, you are what you eat sort of thing. You are what you consume. And so when you're like consuming all this social media or all this negativity or complaining or violence, like that sits somewhere.
It does.
And it gets expressed in some way. And so it's just something to like maybe every now and then I try to do a little intake of what I'm consuming and what friends I'm hanging around. My papa used to say this all the time. You hang around, and I used to kind of be like, what? No, it doesn't matter. I can be friends with everybody. But it really is true. You start to pick up on their habits or things like that. So if you want to be a really energized, ambitious person, but you're hanging around somebody that's just not, then it's going to be a real hard gap to close.
Okay, that's a real good point because we love everybody by nature. Joyce and I talk about that.
yeah.
I know that's my nature. I see the best in people all the
Yes.
time. But the thing is who you hang around with, and I'll be respectful and love everybody where they're at, but who I hang around with are like-minded, positive, upbeat people.
Right. Right.
They're
Yes.
speaking faith in me, and I speak faith into them.
I'm very protective
Yes.
over my circle.
Yeah, me too. But I'm always going to be respectful of everybody.
Right.
Yes,
Or
everyone deserves a
everybody.
place.
That's right.
But there are
Yes.
people keep at arm's length only because I don't want to be dragged down.
Yeah. Or just dragged over there,
Over
like that's
there.
for you.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Yes.
here. You
I
there.
love you, but
Bless and release.
Yes.
bless and release.
It's one of
I
my
like
favorite
that.
things. I bless
Yes.
them and I release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you're in middle school, that's a
A little bit
harder
tough to do that.
It
a little bit tough to
is.
do.
And you're stuck with those people. Like when you're an adult, and I think kids maybe don't grasp this as much, that you have a lot more agency when you grow up. And some adults don't really grasp that.
Right.
I'm like, hey, it's your
Yeah.
choice to stay there, bud. Like, if you don't want to live there, you can move, or, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're in middle school, you're kind of stuck with your classmates and your teachers and whoever's in that building, because that's the town you live in.
How about even as an adult in an office?
Yep.
And you're going there 9 to 5 every day, and you just loathe your person who's right next to you.
Yeah.
What do you do? You
Well, and that's where I'll challenge it, because I'm like, you could look for another job, you could ask for to be replaced, whatever. But when you're in school, you're at the mercy of your parents.
True.
You know what I mean? You're placed there.
you basically don't have a choice at that point. But as an adult, you do where you work. Where
Right.
you are.
Yeah. And that's where we could talk about like patterns and behavior and things where, okay, is there a reason that you're wanting to stay at this job when you seem so miserable in this office? Like, have you asked about changing, or, because then it's like, well, I never thought about that, or I don't think I deserve. And then we're getting into the story, right? Of like,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
why are you then? Because this is a choice. You are 45 and you could absolutely
Yeah.
apply elsewhere, or,
Sure.
whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's why I have a lot more compassion for the kid that's 12 years old, going through all these
Yes.
body changes, going through all the, this friend
all
doesn't
of
want to be my
that.
friend anymore, and I don't know why. And this teacher seems to be really hard on me, and I'm all of a sudden I have acne, and I have no choice about any of it.
I remember that you mentioned acne, because I remember in my freshman year I had pimples all over my face, and they would say, "Oh, pimple puss."
Ugh.
I'll never forget. I heard that, and I had it on my back. I would go swimming, and I would have a T-shirt on because I was afraid to have that exposed, and it was really painful. And I never forgot that, but I used it to uplift other people. I used that experience. I turned the adversity into an opportunity
Yes.
to become a better person and to bless other people and be more empathetic and compassionate.
Yes. And a lot of people aren't told about the power in that,
Yeah.
and aren't given that opportunity. They're sort of, instead of empowered, sort of either pitied or dismissed, or, something. They're not given any tools.
Right.
And so that's what we're hoping Stand Up Speak Out could be, is a tool. It comes with an educational guide, and that sort of walks through the show with different lessons and things embedded in it, so that when the kids see the show and then they go back, it opens the conversation with the counselor, with teachers, or whatever they seem fit. Because that's the biggest. I don't know if you guys saw Adolescence on Netflix.
That was difficult to watch.
It was difficult to watch. I watched
Yes.
an interview. He's the guy that played the dad. He was also, I think, producer or director or anything. And I watched an interview that he did, and he said the biggest takeaway he wanted people to have from the show was open the door. Because at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, at the end of the series, he like opens the door, and of course the child is not there, and he's like sobbing on the kid's bed, and he's like, what if I would have just opened that door earlier? Would have all this been prevented? And so that's a big thing with Stand Up Speak Out, is stand up and speak out, actually speak it. Because I'm learning about a lot of stuff recently about just the psychology and human spirit and the ways that we behave and things like that. And one of the things that is so interesting to me that just got sort of taught to me is more energy goes into keeping a secret than whatever it might have been. And I think that's so true with kids and having bullying or something's going on at school. I mean, that could be many things, but when they don't feel the permission to speak up about it, then all this energy is going into hiding this thing, and then it just perpetuates and becomes this bigger thing. And then a lot of times it ends in a tragic consequence.
But also manifests on the body, a lot of health issues. It affects the
Yes.
immune system.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Right?
100
Yes.
yes. I think there's this misconception at times. Let's say like an older generation that will say, oh, they're just a bunch of snowflakes in school. They should stand up and they should do this. But they need to realize that damage has carried on within that person.
Yes,
And
Joyce Aru.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
See, Joyce Aru.
that's it.
It's sticking.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They become alcoholics, or they become drug addicts, or they're getting.
That's
trouble
why
with the
she's a
police.
very successful therapist. as you picked up
Okay,
on.
so you might love
Yeah,
this.
you heard a sore spot there.
Have
but-
you been? Have you heard about family constellations?
I did hear about that, but
It's a psychological framework, or I guess you could call it a therapy, but basically you're looking at the family system of a person. So, you have the person, their mom and dad, their mom and dad and mom and dad,
Yep.
their mom and dad and mom and dad, mom and dad, mom and dad, right? Generations.
Yeah.
And the system has energy in it, right? That's what you're born into. Your mother and father give you life no matter what else happens, right? And so you come from all that came before you.
It's like a tree, a family tree type.
Family
thing.
tree, yes. And in that tree, there's all this communication between it, right? Like just because I never knew my great-great-grandfather or whatever doesn't mean that I don't have things that are passed down from him.
Sure.
And so what you're saying is so true, that there's a generation before that may have gotten through their own thing, right? I mean, I can't imagine having to be drafted at 17 years old and going to a country I've never been to, from a small podunk Louisiana. That's where I'm from. But I mean, I can't even imagine that. And then you build a little family in that war zone. You got it. I have to trust you with my life. And so, yes, of course you're my family. And then, I lose you. I make it back and you don't.
Right.
Of course I carry that. And then I treat my kids a different way. Yeah.
Sure.
And then I'm not able to love little Susan the way that I could have beforehand or whatever, because I'm still over here in Vietnam or, whatever the case may be. And then little Susan carries that. So it goes on and on and on. And so, you say, oh, well, I got through it. You should too. Okay, number one, just because you suffered.
It's kind of cavalier or self-righteous because everybody handles things differently.
It's a protection, right? Maybe they don't want to look at how much suffering or how much pain they endured, and so they can't look at yours. Because if they look at yours, then they have to look at theirs.
Right.
And so it's, that's where I'm just like, okay, because I used to be very judgmental about it, and I used to be very sort of up in arms, like, well, you need to be understanding, and this kid's going through it, and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, oh, you must be in pain too.
Yeah.
And that's
true.
it.
And the thing is, I think the whole thing is to be transparent and vulnerable with people, and then they'll open up to you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like if you share your story about when you were bullied or something, let me tell you a story about me and what happened with me. Then they
them
look
permission.
at you. It gives them permission to open up.
Yeah.
It's so key. Watch their eyes, watch their body language.
But especially, John, if they were speaking to you about saying, oh, I was bullied in school, but who cares, because I beat them up and my parents said that. But if you, as the adult, said, let me tell you about my experience, I think you would change their thoughts about that.
I agree.
It really would.
I learned a long time ago that facts tell, but stories sell.
Yeah.
Facts
tell, but stories sell.
And you're the storyteller.
You're the storyteller.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be in front of a group of people and you'll be talking with them, and if you feel like you're losing them, their eyes glaze over, then you'll kind of say, let me tell you a story.
Yes.
Boom! Then they all hone in because that's how we learned as kids.
Yes.
Right?
And I mean, imagine for thousands and thousands of years, humans have been telling stories over the fireplace.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That was it. We'd get together, we would tell our stories, and that's how we would really teach the next generation lessons, right, in history. Like it would be like, oh, and I saw this bear, and when it's brown, get down, or whatever.
When it's brown, get down. That's good. That's good. When it's brown, get down.
And and that's how we learn survival instincts, and
especially in Podunk, Louisiana.
Like right? Yeah. Ew. Yeah. Don't eat these berries or whatever may be the thing. And I think we've gotten away from that, And I always think about this whenever people are talking about raising children, and they say like, oh, it takes a village. It's like, we've really gotten away from that village. Like it kind of gets harder in the communities and so that's why I really love Connecticut versus, Louisiana has some opportunities for growth, but Connecticut, we have town greens and there's all these community centers and opportunities to get together. So it's really up to you. Like, oh, why don't you join the pickleball, recreational team or whatever.
People like to diss Connecticut a lot of times, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love it here. You're right between New York and Boston.
Mm-hmm. I've lived it a couple of times, but I come back. I keep coming back.
It's great. You get all 4 seasons. I think that's a big thing.
Even though this podcast does globally, we love a lot of other parts of the country and the world, but we just happen to be stationed here right now. But
Kayleigh,
I love it.
I'll take 3 seasons.
You'll take 3, no winter.
Especially this past winter we had in Connecticut.
January,
brutal.
February. Just January,
really
February.
brutal.
Just kind of kick it
But it
off.
does make me appreciate. Like now I'm like, April is here.
That's
or
right.
Marge is here. Or I
Kayleigh
love fall.
Joseph.
I like Kayleigh Joseff.
Yes,
I love fall. That's my birthday.
Choice of root.
Choice of root. Yes.
I know. Get on point, so they'll concentrate.
Yes.
Squirrel.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, Connecticut's great. And everybody, and that's why I love traveling too, because every piece of land has all these different cultures and histories and things that live there. And so that's why I like to also just get perspective that way too. That's the quickest way. If you're not sure what to do and you're feeling stuck, just go somewhere.
Yeah.
Just
these
travel.
beautiful towns. Every town has its own different something that's indigenous to that town.
Yes.
History.
Yes.
That wonderment. I get that wonderment if I just go to the beach. Even in the middle of winter, if I just stand there and look up at the sky or look out, it's that wonderment. It's like, wow.
The wonder of it all.
It's so healing.
Yes,
when
it
you
really
do
is.
that.
Like just standing at the ocean. The ocean for me is a resource.
Same here.
Oh
Yes.
boy, if I'm having a moment, I just need to think about the ocean and like take it in, all the mystery that's there, and it doesn't need me, right? There's nothing to fix in the ocean.
No.
There's nothing to,
Right.
construct in the ocean. No, the ocean is just living and doing its own thing, and
Interesting
it's
to
just
say
there.
that many times after my workout, or I'll just get a cup of coffee and I'll go down and just walk. If it's too cold, I'll stay on the car, but just look out and just it gets me closer to nature that way.
I know my brother feels that way in South Carolina, but he's more towards the mountains. So he takes
mountains too have
his
a
camera and
Sure.
the Smokies. And, I think that's where he gets his peace and beauty from.
Yeah, I like those sort of questions of like, are you a mountains person, oceans person? I think it kind of gives you a
Right.
little insight to that person.
Oh, I'm
So
ocean.
tell me where we are. You think we're making progress with this whole anti-bullying? I mean, you're doing everything you can. You and Jill are doing amazing
are schools
things.
making progress within that nucleus there or they're shorthanded with counselors we were talking about?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. You get one, like last year, we had a teacher like send us an email or review or a letter or some form of communication saying, hey, I just want to let you know, like there was this kid in the crowd that has really been having a lot of doing a lot of bullying, having a lot of bullying incidents as the bully, and was just sobbing throughout the whole show, and is talking to a counselor and thinks there's a really chance for a turnaround here. We just want to say thanks for inviting us and da 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 da. But it's hard to say, and I was talking about this with a professor of mine at University of Hartford to possibly do some research to get data to say, okay, let's say how many bullying incidents were occurring before you came to see the show, and then 6 months later, then maybe a year later, is there any decrease that we can see, things like that. And maybe there could be more of this in schools with other interventions as well, or other tools. It's just so hard because, and this is just like red tape in general kind of things. I mean, you could be trying to build a patio and you've got to go through permits and whatever.
Oh, sure.
But trying to implement things for schools across the country, at least public schools, you've got to go through all these hoops, and then people are resistant to change.
Yeah.
At the bottom line, people are resistant to change. And I'm realizing that it's less about, someone said this to me, it's less about the fear of the unknown and more about the love of the known. That even if this is horrible, at least I know it.
It's like some people say it's better to be with the devil you know,
Yeah.
and I never really I don't really agree with that at all.
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes like I'm the same. Like I'm like, what? Like I go for, but then again, I don't know. I'm uncertainty is
This is
scary.
the way it's always been done. That kind of mentality.
Or like,
drives
well,
me
let's not
crazy.
mess with it because it's not totally falling apart.
Right.
And it's like,
It ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just
yeah,
Right.
it's
But
like
this is broke.
yeah,
Right.
This is broke.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for people like Jill Vita, and yourself that are
Yeah.
doing this. And sometimes you feel like your head's probably knocking up against the wall trying to get things done, but
It's
you're
tough.
doing it inch by inch. It's a cinch.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite phrases. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard.
yeah.
Little steps, little baby steps, and congratulate yourself with every little step.
Yes, and that's how it feels. So I hold on to the solo stories, I call them, or I
Yeah.
keep those kids' face in my mind and just remind, like, okay, even if one person's life was
Yes.
changed,
There you
that's
go.
all that matters. And while still just doing what I can in that other aspect, and Jill as well as a team will, okay, well, when you're ready to talk about, maybe implementing something, or, I mean, we've reached out to superintendents, we've reached out to people, and it's, I mean, sometimes they really do feel like they have no choice or it's not up to them. And then, like I said, other times it's just like, it's scary to be like, well, I don't know. What if I implement this new thing and then it totally goes? I get it. Like, so we just gotta, I'm gonna keep it pushing. Like
You
said,
are making a difference, and you're making that ripple effect.
Yes.
Well, Kayleigh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kayleigh, I really appreciate what you and Jill are doing, and stand up and speak out, continued success.
Yes.
Even if you're just helping, like you said, one person at a time, you're making a big difference.
Yes.
And we appreciate you coming into our studios here.
Thanks for having me. I can't believe it's over.
I know it goes by so quickly, but we may have you come back again for follow-up stories.
I'd love to.
But thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to What's Good with John and Joyce. Available everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. It's free, and share it with everybody you know that needs 30 minutes of positivity every week. No negative and no politics.
Never.
Forbidden here, never. Until next time, God bless.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ. And that's where we come in. I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation. Or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.